Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So this woman is sharing, mental load in relationship and from her previous relationship, the lesson she learned. I love videos like this because we don't have to wait till it happens to us before we can learn. We can also learn from other people's experience. So let's listen to her.
One of the silent killers of my relationship was mental load. Hi, my name is Lauren. I just got out of a 3-year-long relationship and ended my engagement. And I'm talking about some of the things I'm processing as I am deconstructing and coming out of this relationship.
I love what she's doing, and I love the fact that she's vulnerable enough to share it with the internet. This is she healing herself so that asking herself what went wrong and what she didn't do right, so that on the next relationship she will do better. That is what we ought to be doing. But more oftentimes we are so focused on getting the next relationship that we don't even have time to ask ourselves what we can change. This is nice.
Mental load is the invisible labor that goes into maintaining and running a home. And more often than not, in a heterosexual dynamic, women are the ones that end up carrying the mental load heavier. I'm not saying that's every case, but I've worked as a nanny for 10 years, and I can tell you, as someone who's worked as a nanny intimately in people's homes, I have never met a single mom that believes like the distribution of mental load is even. I've never met a mom that thinks that. So let me give an example of mental load in case people don't understand. Mental load is like, we need to go grocery shopping. But it's not just the act of showing up at the grocery store, right? You got to look through the fridge, see what you got, see what you don't got, throw stuff away. You got to look through the pantry, see what you got, see what you don't got. You got to find recipes. You have to look at your schedule. You have to make sure your schedule is done. You've got to make sure you know which meals you need to make for the week. Then you need to make your list. Then you need to go to the grocery store. Then you need to come home and unpack it all. And then you got to make food.
Let me not lie to you. Even though it's in my adult life that I figured out it's mental load. But my first experience of this, I was still in my teenage age and I started up, doing a lot in the house, very young age. Do you know the first time I experienced this? When there was a time my mom traveled because we didn't grow up with my dad. There was a time my mom traveled for a whole month. She was not around. So I was not the one in charge of deciding the meal we eat every day. I'll go and buy it, cook it. My problem was even deciding what to cook, what you're going to cook. Oh my god, I won't lie. That's a lot. And mind you, I was still a teenage, very young girl.
So mental load is the
When my mom finally came back, it was as if a lot was taken off my shoulder. I could breathe again. I don't think I will be able to explain to somebody like this kind of thing is better experience than explained. I'm not lying to you. Mind you, the funny part is even when my mom was around, even when she came back, I was the one that was cooking, yeah. But see that part of deciding, like the whole process, being the one in charge of the whole process, deciding, even though I was the one that was cooking, actually cooking, I cooked a lot when I was growing up. Maybe that's why now that I'm older, I don't like chores. Like I don't like chores. After that, I was sourcing it. Let me work and outsource. I don't mind because I worked a lot when I was young. That's a lot in a child. Let me not lie. Do you get? So that load. So I totally understand what this one is saying. Like I've experienced it, and maybe now I'm beginning to process. Maybe it's even the trauma of it that's making me not to like house chores. Now in my adult, I don't like house chores. I don't like it. I know how to cook very well, but I don't like cooking. It still shocks my sister that I'm now like this because she's like, I used to be so hardworking when we were grown up. I think because you don't understand that I did a lot. So now, no, I'm not doing it again. So I can understand. So now it's making sense why a lot of women, when they divorce, they don't want to get married again. Hmm. It's even that that's clicking for me. You see why these videos like this are important?
like the effort and the energy and the weight, invisible weight of all house, domestic, children duties. One of the things that really became a problem in my relationship was I started carrying an uneven amount of the mental load. And I really, really did not want to because it's something that really bothered me. And I knew before I was with my partner that I did not want to be the main care of the mental load of my family, carrier of the mental load. So when I started stepping into that role, I was getting very angry and like resentful because I was just like, I don't want to be on you all the time. I don't want to be telling you to do things all the time. I don't want to be reminding you to do the things that no one reminds me to do. It felt like I was constantly having to provide context for the life that we were both living in. And that became so exhausting. It left him feeling like he was never doing enough, and it left me feeling like I was always doing too much. And we've had a lot of conversations about this in our separation that have been very clarifying for both of us, very much so for him, because he realizes how much I was carrying. But this whole last year, I felt like I was constantly begging him to see that I wasn't responsible for the both of us. I was not both of our caretakers. And that was exhausting. That was so exhausting. A lot of women in my video around leaving good men are talking about that uneven distribution of mental load, and they're talking about the burden of being the one to run a home, to take care of children, to take care of your partnership. And still, there are men in my comments fighting the women about their own lived experiences, defending themselves and arguing that what women feel is wrong. All that being said, I now know that mental load is an incredibly important thing for me in a relationship, and I will never be compromising on that again. Ever.
I like that we are beginning to have the important conversations. That's the people that want to do better, because this is one of the. I don't think people actually notice this. Some people are even fighting it, but they don't even know this is the problem because they cannot name it. They cannot name it, and this is one of the reasons why women are leaving good men, but they cannot even tell you why, because some of them can name it, and they cannot even explain it the way it makes sense. So it's just a few people that will get this. That's why some people don't get, why are you leaving me? He's a good man and he has money. Why are you leaving? What is your problem? It is why a woman can comfortably stay with a man that doesn't really have so much versus someone that has so much. This is one of the reasons. I've come to understand it. And it makes a lot of sense, but it will not make sense to some, in fact, to a lot of people. But this actually makes a lot of sense. Let's see what the people in the comments are saying. So, this person is just recording her thoughts. So, he ran out of toothpaste. He acknowledged no toothpaste. He went to a prescription. He went to get a prescription for himself at CVS. Didn't come home with toothpaste. These are the issues because she has not said it. Oh, you need, don't forget to buy toothpaste. Most men, when they're going to grocery, you have to give them a list. Even when you give them a list, most of them never know where to get it from this market. The way some of them act so ignorantly. So I used to wonder, is this how you act at your workplace? Or you just choose to act like that at home because you know your wife will do it? So it turns out I cannot be attracted to someone who I have to mother. This is it actually. But it's quite unfortunate that a lot of men just, this is how they are. That they expect their wife to do everything for them, remind them to do something. And we women, we like to do too much. That's our problem. That savior complex is, I think, that's the number one problem that a lot of women have. You want to be the one to save. Jesus the savior. See you guys in the next video.